Hi guys, hello everyone. Am I audible? Okay, so let's just wait for like 2 more minutes and hope everyone else who's trying to join in will join. And let's start within 2 minutes, right? So let's start in 2 minutes. Till then, make sure you all have Node.js installed in your systems because today's workshop is going to be around Node.js and you have to have Node.js in your system, right? So please make sure that you are installed. Okay, so let's start. So hi everyone, good evening. So today we are gonna get a fair idea about what Node.js is and how actually Node.js came into picture. What is all like what is frameworks and what is backend, right? So uh, yeah. So first of all, let's check whether you have Node installed or not, right? So to check whether Node is installed or not, what you can do is go into your terminal or in Windows PowerShell, any one of the following. Just type is the text clear? Is the text visible to you, or I need to increase the font size? Should I increase the font size or is it clear? Okay, I'll increase. Is it visible now? Is the font clear now? Okay, so in your terminal, wherever you are, just type node space -v and press enter. You'll get something like v 12.11.0 in my case. So node -v. This will tell you the version of your node installed, and if it does not return anything, that means node is not installed in your system, right? So once you are getting a version of a node, like any version like 10 or 12 or like 8, any version of node, that means you are good to go for today's workshop, right? And what is not visible to you? What is not visible to you, Sanket? Yeah, in Linux also the same command, node space -v. Yeah, 10 point version 10 would work, Abhiram. It is fine. Is the size fine now? Okay. So yeah. So first of all, like, should I continue in English or Hindi or both? Like, I need to get like whether most of you understand English or most of you, because there are some like from South also. So I guess they won't be understanding Hindi. So can you just tell me English, Hindi, or both? Okay. Okay. So it is a mix of like Hindi, English, and both. So I'll try to be in English most of the times. For those who do not understand something in English, can just write in the chat and tell me to repeat it in Hindi. I'll repeat it in Hindi, right? Okay. So yeah, let's start. So I'll show you something. So in your browser, so your browser is basically, let's start with JavaScript first, right? So Node.js in itself states that it is a JavaScript. It has to do something with JavaScript, right? So if you want, if you'll open your browser and your browser has the capability to read the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? The browser can only understand these three things. That is HTML, plain JavaScript, and CSS. Other than that, it does not have the capability to understand anything else, right? Okay. So first of all, let's see how the browser implements JavaScript, how it actually understands JavaScript, right? So when you right click on your, like, my browser is Google Chrome. So when I right click on Google Chrome and click on inspect, so I'll have this console open here, right? So this console is actually an interpreter, which interprets JavaScript language, right? So if I like want to, like, this does not have anything to do with Node.js. It is just basically I want you to understand what exactly is Node.js, how it came into picture, right? So I'll increase the size more. So it is basically JavaScript and browser kind of thing. So we'll move on to Node.js after this. So how do we print a normal hello world in JavaScript? So you write console.log hello world, right? And hit enter. Okay. So hello world is printed, right? So this browser has the capability to actually understand all the JavaScript code. If you write console.log 2 plus 2 will give 4. So this is how JavaScript is interpreted in the browser, right? And the browser can interpret JavaScript and HTML and CSS, right? So let's see something else. I'm in my this is the Firefox browser, right? So in the Firefox bar, I'll type about :config, hit enter. I'll search JavaScript over here. In the search box, I'll search JavaScript. You will see that there is this flag of JavaScript enabled following this JavaScript enabled flag. Increase the size. So this JavaScript enabled flag, right? So what you need to do is open your Firefox browser, and the URL bar above, address bar, type about :config. Then this search in the search bar, search for JavaScript, and there will be a property of JavaScript dot enabled, right? So you'll see that this will be true in your case. So this will be by default true, right? Abhiram, in Chrome, I don't know exactly how to see that. You need to Google it, but you can follow. I'll show you something. You need to only see that, nothing to do with the hands-on. So you can just see that what I'm showing you. So I'll just like this property is by default true, right? So let it be true. Open a new tab in Firefox. I'll Google something. So it's true, right? Right. So I have Googled Node.js. Okay. Now this was the, just see the page how it looks. Now what I do is I'll go back again into the about config and I'll disable JavaScript. That is, I'll make it false. Okay. What I did is I made JavaScript.enabled false. Okay. I did it. I toggled the property. Now again, I'll go back to the same page and I'll refresh this page. So you'll see the whole layout of the page changed, right? And if you remember, this was the layout when in the back, like years back, we used to have browsers not capable of actually understanding JavaScript. So did you see what JavaScript actually did? It actually did. So the website is still you can actually browse and you can see everything else, but the layout and the other things which actually run through JavaScript are no more able to run, right? So if you see, if you'll just search something here like Node.js, you won't get the suggestions, the drop down as well, because the drop down was also the result of JavaScript running in the browser. But you toggled the property of JavaScript, so the browser cannot run the JavaScript property now, right? So it does not give you the drop down and the nice looking page and all, right? But the website still works without JavaScript. Okay. So this is the capability of the browser which makes it to understand the JavaScript, right? So like if you talk about C++, right, you need a compiler to compile the C++ code and then run it, right? So here in JavaScript there is no compilation step, right? JavaScript is an interpreted language. That means it is directly interpreted line by line during the runtime. It does not need compilation. So your if you click on again inspect element and then console, so your console is basically a interpreter which actually interprets your JavaScript code. So if you'll write hello world again, it will basically print hello world, right? So it interpreted the hello world. The browser interpreted your JavaScript code. You do not have any uh, external wrapper or external thing running in your browser to run the JavaScript code, right? So these are the property of the browser. It is only inside the browser. Yeah, you can't, you for a particular till a particular time you did not actually had the privilege to actually extract this interpreter out of the browser to your own system, right? Now what if I want to run JavaScript code in my code editor or in my system, not in my browser? Because see, in the browser, opening the console and typing the code in JavaScript is not actually something we actually want, right? We want something like C++ or Java. We want an editor, and then inside the editor, if we write the code, it should run, it should be interpreted, right? So we want a property, this property of the browser uh, to be able to run the JavaScript code. So this was the beginning of how Node.js actually came into picture. Why I'm telling you all these things? Because I want you to understand what is Node.js and how did Node.js came into picture, right? So till a time browsers had, like, if you remember in the old days, old back years, so the Internet Explorer 7 or the old versions of Internet Explorers were actually very bad. Most of the good websites which came in the later time did not run on the Internet Explorer version 7 and like the old versions of Internet Explorer. Do you remember these cases? There were several cases of this specifically mentioned that this website won't perform or won't run on Internet Explorer 7 and these old versions of Internet Explorer. Did anyone notice that or remember that this happened? Right? So why did this happen? Because the Internet Explorer, old versions of Internet Explorer was not capable of actually understanding maybe JavaScript or parsing the JavaScript HTML and CSS that good. Then later the more advanced browsers came, like Chrome had their own browser, Google had their own browser, Chrome and Firefox. So these browsers actually had the capability to interpret any JavaScript code, obviously written a plain JavaScript code, not using any framework, plain JavaScript code, then HTML and CSS way better than Internet Explorer. Then afterwards, there is Microsoft Edge came. So Edge is a browser which is actually very good, and Edge competes with Chrome and Firefox, right? So there's the Internet Explorer era is gone, right? So the Chrome, Firefox, Edge, all these browsers have their own interpreter to interpret the JavaScript, right? So now let's talk about this interpreter, right? So what do you think? So somehow if we, let's not see how, but somehow let's suppose we actually extract this interpreter part from the browser and are able to run it on our machine. So won't it serve a purpose of actually interpreting the JavaScript code in our own machine? अगर मैं जो भी कोड इस कंसोल के अंदर जो इंटरप्रेटर चल रहा है, इस इंटरप्रेटर को किसी तरह ब्राउजर्स इस इंटरप्रेटर का कोड, सोर्स कोड जो है, इस सोर्स कोड को एक्सट्रैक्ट करके अपने सिस्टम पे ला पाया, so won't it be the very easy for me to run the JavaScript code on my own system? बार बार ब्राउजर नहीं खोलना पड़ेगा, कंसोल भी नहीं लिखना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मेरे पास इंटरप्रेटर अपने सिस्टम पे आ गया, राइट? Are you getting this? कि अगर मैंने, if somehow I am able to extract this source code of the interpreter from any browser into my system, तो मेरे सिस्टम पे ही मैं जावास्क्रिप्ट का कोड लिख के और चला पाऊंगा विदाउट द नीड ऑफ कंसोल और एनी ब्राउजर। जैसे अभी तो मैं कंसोल पे चला रहा हूँ ना, सो आई वुडंट नीड दिस कंसोल एनीमोर, आई विल स्ट्रेट अवे गो इन माय एडिटर, उसमें टाइप करूंगा एंड देन आई गेट द आउटपुट ऑफ द जावास्क्रिप्ट कोड, राइट? गेटिंग दिस? यस। सो अब क्या हुआ? सो व्हाट देयर इज, सो रायन डैल इज अ पर्सन हु एक्चुअली डेवलप्ड नोड.js, राइट? सो उसने क्या किया, व्हाट ही डिड, सो क्रोम का जो इंटरप्रेटर है उसका नाम है V8, सो V8 इंजन, राइट? सो क्रोम यूजेस V8 इंजन एज द इंटरप्रेटर, राइट? सो क्रोम का जो V8 इंजन है, सो रायन डेल एक्सट्रैक्टेड दिस सोर्स कोड ऑफ V8 इंजन एंड he changed that code according to the needs to run that code on the system, and he was able to actually extract this V8 engine successfully and was able to run this particular V8 engine on his own machine. And then once he was able to run this on his own machine, what happened? He was able to interpret the JavaScript code in his own local system, like the browser did, right? And then he gave the this extracted code name Node.js. So this is Node.js, right? So Node.js was extracted from the V8 engine and was changed according to the needs of the system, so that it is able to run standalone on the system, like my machine, like your machine, right? So that extracted code from the V8 engine was given the name Node.js. So that is Node.js. So what is Node? Node.js is not a framework. Node.js is basically a runtime environment for JavaScript, right? So it is an environment in which you run the JavaScript code. That is all. It is not a framework, please, right? So this was the story behind Node.js, and then further Node.js, the improvements happened with time, and it got more and more features were developed. The versions of Node came in, like the version 12, the version 10. Some of you are using. So these were the versioning which came later after the initial version was out, right? So this was the history of Node.js, right? How it came into picture and what exactly is Node.js, because some of the people confuse Node.js with the framework. So it is not a framework, it is a runtime environment for JavaScript. Like you can see in the browser as well, I've opened the first line. So the first line says Node.js is JavaScript runtime built on Chrome's V8 engine, right? So Chrome's V8 engine is the interpreter which the Chrome browser uses, and the runtime environment which is built using the Chrome V8 engine is called Node.js. Okay, clear till this point? Please acknowledge in the comment section so that I can move further. Is this clear till this point? Okay, so we can let's move forward. So okay, so this is about Node.js. So when I say you to install Node.js, what does that mean? That means I want you to install the runtime for JavaScript into your machine. So when I do node-v, so this means that I have version 12.11.0 of Node runtime environment in my machine, right? Or the another way to check is if you type node and hit enter. So this is exactly the exactly interpreter opens which I just now you saw in the console. So this is the this in when you type node in the terminal and hit enter. So if you do console.log 2 plus 2 here, it will get 4. So this is the exact console which you get in the browser, right? So this is now you are not running it inside the browser, you're running it inside your own machine. So this is the magic of Node.js. You're able to execute the code in your own into your own machine, right? So what I did was I typed node and hit enter. So if you're able to enter this console over here, then that means node is installed. And I just wanted to tell you that this console is exactly the console which you saw in the browser after doing inspect element. So you can do anything over here which you are able to do in the browser, because this is the same functionality, the same interpreter which you saw in the browser. And for the installation of the Node.js, their official website is nodejs.org. So you have to go over here, nodejs.org, and download the latest LTS version. This one. Don't download the this current version. Download the LTS version, right? Okay, so this is the exact interpreter or exact runtime. So you are able to run the JavaScript code in your machine, right? So what you need to do again last time. So open the terminal, type node and hit enter. You will enter a console. So this console is basically of the same console that the browser has. So you can execute any JavaScript code inside this, right? Okay, following till this point. Any confusions? So why undefined is coming? Because so yeah, a good point raised. However, I would have came to this, but yeah. So if you do console.log hello world, hit enter. So their undefined is coming because the return type of console.log is undefined, right? This is the return type. Okay, like you have void in Java. So the return type is undefined. Okay, so clear this till this point. I'll come to the Visual Studio part. I'll come to an editor part also, but this is just the implementation, and I just wanted to show you how Node.js is actually working in your own machine. Any issues till this point? Okay, so now let's move into the backend part, right? So the website, so any website or any web app has two parts, right? One is the front end and the second is the back end. So the front end, we actually had a workshop on React.js. That was the front end part, right? Now the backend part, we are starting with the Node.js, right? So I told you Node.js is a runtime environment. So let's just see how to exactly run a simple JavaScript code using Node environment, right? So open any editor of your choice. I'll open VS Code in my case, and what I'll do is I'll share all the code like the last time in the GitHub repo, right? So I'll make a GitHub repo. I'll share a link with you. Just give me a second. I'll share all the code for today's workshop over there. Okay, so I'll share the link. So this is the link where I'll upload all the code. Okay, so let's do one thing. Make a simple file of script.js. Okay, I'll increase the font size. The size, okay, is it visible? Any editor, Atom, Sublime, VS Code, WebStorm, any editor will work. Only requirement is Node.js installed. Is the font size clear? Once we are able to do this, we will make a server in Node.js and we'll see how to implement a simple backend server, right? So let's just quickly get to this. So yeah, okay. So in the script, I'll just do a simple console log hello world. Okay. Right. I'll save this file, and so let's just make a folder simple.js, and I'll put the script inside the simple.js folder, right? This is a very simple JavaScript file, a simple plain JavaScript file containing just print statement hello world. Okay, I'll run this JavaScript file in my system now. So how will I run? I'll use Node to run this file, right? If I did not have Node installed in my system, I won't be able to run this file. Okay, so I have Node installed in my system. So since I have Node installed, I'll be able to run this file. Now how to run any file using Node? Let's see. So get back to the terminal, cd into this path where you have the script file. So I'll do cd simple.js, and see I'll have the script file inside it, right? So what I'll do is, and to run any JavaScript file using Node, what you do is, I'll just remove this. Okay, so to run any JavaScript file using Node, you need to do node space the name of the file, and you'll see you'll get hello world. Easy. Got this? So what I did node space script.js, and you got hello world. Now what if I do something? Let's define a variable. So const x is equal to 4, and I'll do const y equal to x plus 2, console.log x, console.log y. Okay, so let's execute this code. Let's comment out the hello world part. So again, node space script.js. Okay. Yes, in the VS Code, you can directly run the JS file, but in the background, you are doing the same thing, Node. So I just wanted to tell you how actually VS Code even runs this JS file. So it actually does node space name of the file for you, but you should know how to run a JS file on your own as well, right? So, okay. So clear till this point, why are we able to run this script.js in my own system? Because I have Node environment installed, and the Node environment facilitates the interpreting of the script.js फाइल. तो script.js के अंदर मैंने जो भी कोड लिखा है ये सारा कोड जावास्क्रिप्ट में है. तो एंड जावास्क्रिप्ट वाला कोड मैं अपने सिस्टम पे क्यों रन कर पा रहा हूँ? क्योंकि मेरे में नोड इंस्टॉल्ड है. सो Node.js के इंस्टॉल होने से Node.js मेरे को ये Node.js के पास एक कैपेबिलिटी है कि Node.js इस पूरी फाइल को रीड कर सकता है, राइट? अगर Node.js नहीं होता तो फिर ये फाइल मैं रीड नहीं कर सकता था और मैं अपने ब्राउजर पे ही चला पाता, इसको सिस्टम पे नहीं चला पाता. क्लियर? You can use Sublime, you can use any text editor. You just need to have a text editor and Node.js installed. That is only requirement. Okay, so two basic requirements, and the most important requirements are a basic any code editor of your choice, and secondly most important is Node.js installed. Other than that, nothing else is needed. Okay, clear till this point? Shall we move? एक बार बता दो, आगे चलते हैं. ठीक है, तो मैं इसको सिंपल सा कोड है, पुश, आई पुश इट, make a git ignore as well. So get ignore is basic. I'll tell what is get ignore in some time, like give me 15-20 minutes, we'll come to that. We'll come to the get ignore part as well. Okay, so now if you'll go in the link I provided, so the link I provided, this link, so you'll get the updates over here. Okay, so this simple JS code is over here and you can just go through it. Okay, so now let's move to server side, implementing a basic server in Node.js. Okay, so let's just see what is. So if you talk about any website, okay, so any website which is built has a front end, has a back end, has some database implementation, okay, and is finally hosted. Okay, so these three main like 3-4 pillars, you can say, are basically the building blocks of any website. Okay, the front end part is something we are not going to talk about today. The database implementation is also not something we'll talk about today. We'll majorly focus upon how to spin a basic backend server using Node, and then we'll see how to use a some framework in backend. Okay, first we'll implement raw Node.js server, then we'll use some framework to implement a backend server. Okay, like in the front end, on the front end, you like in the earlier days you wrote plain HTML, plain CSS, and plain JavaScript. Okay, then you further learned like frameworks or the libraries like React and all, and then you implemented that same page using the framework and library you learned. Okay, so the same will follow in the backend. We'll make a simple hello world server for the using raw Node.js, only Node.js, no framework or library, anything else, and then we'll imitate that same backend server using some framework and see what is the difference, how the frameworks make our task easy. Okay, so let's start with the basic Node server. So what I'll do, I'll make another folder, Node server, and I'll have a file server.js, let's say, and yeah, server.js. I'll have server.js. Okay, so front end is something which you see on the website, like the view portion, the view part which the user sees, and the implementation of how all the things work, how, like, let's take an example of uploading an image. Okay, so whenever you upload an image or whenever you change your profile picture, so you click on the choose file button or choose image button, the drawer opens, you select an image, then you crop that image, and finally you hit upload. So when you click on upload, then what happens and where the file is uploaded, how all these handlers and all those things are controlled is the part of backend, and the button and the drawer which opens and everything which you see is on the front end is on the user side is the front end. Okay, so I'll implement. So yeah, so let's start with the basic server. So first of all, so Node.js comes in with some built-in modules, some built-in functionalities. One of them is, so you need to set up a HTTP server, right? So one of the modules which the node environment comes is with the HTTP module. So in Node, what you like, the importing part is actually written using, like, I'll write const HTTP equal to require HTTP. So what it does is, so require is basically what you write in import. So somewhere you write import HTTP from HTTP. So this is basically same as const HTTP equal to require HTTP, right? You imported HTTP module which comes when you install Node.js. So HTTP module comes with the Node.js. Okay, you do not need to install it explicitly. It comes with the Node.js installation, and it is needed to create a basic HTTP server. Okay, so I imported my HTTP module. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll do const server equal to HTTP dot. Now there is a method on HTTP module called create server. Okay, and for now just remember that it takes a function as an input. Okay, or just write it in this way: request response. Okay, so what is this? This is actually a function. Okay, so HTTP is a module which creates a server for you. This contains a method called create server. Okay, so HTTP.createServer takes a function as an argument. So I'm writing this function. What is the request? So the request is the, like, any incoming request from the front end. Okay, and the response is what the request is processed, and the final response which is sent to the front end again. Okay, so this yeah, so JavaScript can actually work on both the front end and back end. Actually works for the both front end and back end, and that is why Node.js that is one of the reasons Node.js got quite famous. It was because the same language helped you to implement the whole front end, and the same language helped you to implement the back end as well, right? So a single language, and you implement both the front end and the back end of your website. Okay, so yeah, so this function is basically the argument for create server function. Yes, Shik, we can use arrow functions, but since arrow functions are a bit advanced part, so I'm using the old traditional function syntax. Okay, so okay, so inside the function you'll do whatever you want to do. So just ignore this line. This is basically for sending headers. So first you will write res.write head. You'll send 200 as the response, and content type will be text or HTML. So you're going to send text or HTML in the response. Okay, so this res is the response which you're sending, and in the response you are sending the 200 status code, and content type will be text or HTML, right? Then what you do is, so you want to write something in the response, so you'll do response.write, and what you're going to write is, let's suppose h1 hello world. Okay, so you wrote a hello world response, and finally end this response. So you need to close this stream. Okay, so I'll write over here or I'll write some comments over here. So rec is basically short for request. Res is basically the response. Okay. Following till this point, any issues? Any issues? So let me know. So right head is basically whenever you open a website, like I'll show you. So if you go in the network tab, okay, I'll reload this page. Okay, so can you see this status code 200 and the type document style sheet and this? So this is basically what comes from the header part. Okay, so that's why I sent this right. I wrote 200 and the content type on the head. I wanted to send the headers. Okay, send headers to tell the status of your request. Okay. Now, so what happened over here? So line 1, you imported a module to create a HTTP server. Okay. Line 3, you created a server. You told what to add in the response. So in the response, you added a 200 response code in the content type in the header. You added a basic hello world heading, and you then ended the response. So you have the server. Now, what to do to run a server? Okay. So you'll do server dot listen on any port. Let's suppose 8000. Okay, so what will happen? So if you go on HTTP localhost, just a second. Okay, yeah, localhost colon 8000. This will be the port on the browser where your code will be running. Okay. So what I did was I imported a HTTP module. Then I created a server using that module. In the server, I sent the 200 status code. In the header, I sent this small response and then ended the response. And finally, my server is listening on the port 8000. Okay. So localhost 8000 will give me should give me hello world because that is a response which I've sent. Okay. So let's try and run this code. Let's see whether we can actually run this or there is some error. So I'll go inside the node server folder. I have the server.js. So to run this file, I'll again do node server.js. Okay, so your browser hanged up. So that makes sense because let's see whether something is running on 8000 or not. So localhost 8000. Yes. So you have this hello world, and to see what exactly is so Okay, so can you see this this response with status code 200? So see this response in the, okay, I'll make it more visible to you. So in the localhost, this request, localhost request, you see the request was made to this URL, http localhost 8000, because we were listening on 8000. Okay, the method, let's forget about the get method. So get method is basically something which you use to get something from the backend. Post method is something which you give it to the backend and have to save it in the database or something like that. This is the status code 200. Okay, now come to the response header part, the response headers. So see the in the response header, the content type is text/html. The content type is like text/html, because we over here did right head content type is text.html. So that is why I did this content type. Okay, make sense? So this, what you did is you actually made a very simple, if you just did not actually see, but we actually made a very simple server using only Node.js. Okay, only Node.js and nothing else, and you actually made a simple backend server which is listening on 8000. You can change this port, you can make it 3000, any port. Just make sure you just kill the server by Control C. Press Control C to kill the server, and then if you go in the localhost 8000 again, you won't be able to see anything because you killed the server over here. Okay, and if you do again node server.js, again you will see on 8000 you won't be having anything because you are listening on 3000 now. So change this to 3000. You'll again see hello world over here. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Like how to implement a very basic, this is a very basic backend server using only Node.js. Remember, we are not using any framework as of now. You are only using Node.js. Make sense? So Pritinder, create server is not defined because the C in the create server is small, and in your case you have typed capital C. So it is small c create server. S is capital, only S is capital, rest all small. Okay, go to the network. So Gaurav, for the headers part, go to the network. Okay, I'll refresh the page. Go to the local host 3000. Scroll down. There will be a section called response headers. In that you can see the content type, and above you can see the status code as well, 200. Got that? Okay, so let's do one thing. So is this clear till this point? I'll move further with the framework section, but is this clear till this point? Like, did you understand what is Node.js and how to implement a very basic hello world server in Node.js? Does this make sense? Okay, so let's see. Now I'll implement the same thing using let's see how to make APIs. Okay, I'll make APIs and let's see what is how to make requests on the server and all. Okay, so there is a very popular framework for Node.js. There are many, but the one which we are going to use today is Express. So expressjs.com. Okay, so this Express is a fast minimalistic web framework for Node.js. Okay, this line. So it is a basically framework which is a Node.js framework which makes your life quite very easy. We'll see how it makes your life easy. We'll compare the same server with our Express server as well. So we'll see how it makes our life easy. So frameworks are nothing more than basically a wrapper over the so like if you see the Node.js code, okay. So what you did, you required HTTP, then you created a server, okay, and all this you wrote everything. So what Express or any framework did was they wrote a simple human readable, or you can say they made a simple functions for you to create server without writing all these headers and rest.write, rest.end. They handled it all these things on their own. You only needed to call simple functions which the Express framework provided to you. Okay, so let's just quickly move on to the Express part. First of all, I'll push this thing. So okay, so what is npm? So npm is basically node package manager. You can say it is play store for your node modules. Like we have play store in the Android phones. Play store provides you the applications which you can install in the in your phone, right? So npm also gives you various packages, libraries which you install while you build a project, right? So for doing something you need some a third party package, so you install it via npm. Okay, so and npm also comes with the installation of node, so no need to install npm separately. Okay, so I'll make a new folder over here, Express server, and inside that I'll make another simple file called server.js. Okay, so to start any project using npm modules, you need to do some steps, and you will remember those steps as you build your projects. So I'll just go back to the Express. Okay, not. So I'm inside my Express server. Okay, what I'll do is I'll do npm init. So initializing the Express server folder with the npm, so that I can use the functionality of npm and all, right? I'll hit enter. It will ask you some things. Enter. Press enter for all the things. And yes, this is okay. Okay. So you'll see once you do npm init, you'll have this package.json file created for you. Server.js was something which I created. Package.json is something which is created when you do npm init. Okay. So package.json will have all the npm package you installed listed. So let's go back and see what is in package.json. So if you click on this package.json, so the name of your project, the version. So if you remember, all these details were actually asked during the when I pressed enter and all, right? So these are all the details. And for now, we do not installed anything using npm, so it does not list any dependencies. But you'll see when I install Express using npm, it will list Express over here. Okay. So everyone till this point following? सबने कर लिया? npm init कर लिया? npm init में किसी को इश्यू तो नहीं आया? ठीक है. Yes, Ashwarya, we'll install Express separately because Express is a framework and it does not come with Node. So that is why I have initialized my project using npm, and I'll install Express using npm. I'll show you. Just wait a second. So you'll do npm to install anything using npm. So let's get back to the browser and let's see something. So npm Express. So this is the official npm repository of Express. Okay, you'll see 10 million downloads weekly. So this is very popular framework of Node.js. So what you'll do is you'll type this command npm I Express. So it is shortcut for npm install Express. So I'll do npm I for install Express -- save, so that it can be listed in my package.json, so that the Express listing is saved in my package.json, and hit enter. Wait for the Express installation. Because Express does not come with Node, so I'll need to install it using npm externally. Okay. So it installed Express into my Express server wala folder. Okay. So now if we get back to the package.json, can you see this new dependencies thing created over here, and it lists me Express because I installed Express using npm and the version of Express. Can you see this dependency? What is the error? Anyone? Anyone did anyone see this dependency thing created inside the package.json? When you do basically npm, so npm install or I Express -- save. This is the command which you need to run. Once you run this command, you'll see that you have a listing inside your dependencies. There is a listing called Express. So are the people who are getting the error are these people using Windows? So vulnerabilities are something which you can ignore for now, Ayush, unless there is a error. So vulnerabilities are fine, you can have them, but yeah, there shouldn't be error. You should see this Express inside your dependencies object. That is the confirmation of Express installation. So for the Windows, I need to see what exactly is the error, because I haven't used Windows like from the past 4 years. I'm not actually aware of the error resolution part. You can just try to Stack Overflow maybe and get something out of it. I'm not sure how to debug the Windows error for now, but yeah, you can just follow from the video as well. So I'll just repeat how I set up the whole project quickly, very quickly. Okay. So first step was npm init. Okay. After doing npm init, there'll be a package.json formed inside your Express server. Okay. Then once you are done this, you are ready to install anything using npm. The first thing I need to install using npm was Express. So I did npm install Express -- save and hit enter. After you install this successfully, you'll see this dependencies object being created over here, and you'll see Express entry over here. Does this make sense? Everyone clear till this point? This means your project has the Express framework installed. You can do anything using Express framework now. For now, just ignore the package lock.json file. It's of no use for us. Ignore that file. Okay, cool. So let's see. Now you'll notice there is a folder called node modules being created once you did npm. No, once you did npm init, it created package.json. Okay. Now when you did this npm install express hyphen save, it created an entry in the package.json file and a node modules folder over here. So why did it create a node modules folder over here? Because you are installing modules like the express module you have installed. So you'll see inside the node modules folder, there will be express, this whole thing, the express part. Can you see this express? So this is the part which you actually installed right now. This thing is basically your express, and all the express related framework code inside this folder, this express folder. And as you go on and install some more dependencies, all the dependencies are in your node modules folder. Did you get this? Did you get what is node modules? So every dependency is actually kept inside your node modules automatically. So for now you have express over here. Over here, this is the whole express code. This whole code is the express code which you just installed. And as you go on install some other things as well, it will keep on creating new folders inside node modules. So you'll see some more other, like there are plenty of like folders inside node modules already installed, but you never installed it using npm, right? So these are the basic modules which come with the node.js. So these things come along with node.js by default. You don't need to install it on your own, but the express part you need to install it using some other thing. So every third party thing will get added inside the node modules folder. And like suppose I do npm install xyz, so there will be a xyz folder which has been created over here, and you'll see all the source code of the xyz inside node modules, right? Does this make sense? Clear till this point? So Pritinder, package JSON is something which is created on their own. So you only need to do npm init, and once you initialize your project using npm init, it automatically creates package JSON for you. You do not need to create it manually, right? So we have this express dependency installed. Now someone asked me, why do we have to write get ignore file? Okay, so let's just come on the part later. So let's move forward. I'll again go to my server.js file, right? Inside my server.js, I'll do const express is equal to require express. So the first thing I need to import is express, because you're using express, right? So you have express. Okay. Now once you have express, so what I'm doing is, let's understand. So as you saw, I made a simple server using Node previously. Okay. So in the Node server, this is the basic server I made, which was listening on 3000 and maybe 8000 anything. So I'll make the same copy of the server using express, and let's see how easy it would be for us. Okay, so I have imported express. I'll make an application. Let's call it app is equal to, you import express, call that function. So express is basically a function, and once you call this function, you get an application. So I got an application. I'll make a server out of this application. Okay. So what I'll do is, so let's try to listen on. So see, this app gives me a function of listen. So app.listen, first argument is the port. Let's suppose again 8000. Second is the function. Inside the function, so inside this function, you write something which you want to do upon successful start of the server. So let's suppose I'll do console.log listening on localhost 8000. Okay. Following till this point? Can you please all acknowledge whether you understood till this point or not? Whether you are following till this point or not, right? A quick acknowledgement, please. Cool. Okay. So what I did was I imported Express. I'll repeat this everything in a nutshell again. But yeah, let's see. So again, I'll just go back to my terminal. What I'll do is I'll do node space server.js. Can you see we have this console log printed over here? This statement listening on HTTP localhost 8000. So where did this come from? It came from this function. So you wrote listening on HTTP localhost 8000. So it actually printed the same thing over here. So wow, you have a simple mini node server running again using Express this time, not using Node. So you Raviraj, you can write any port. So whether you can, like if I write over here, okay, 3000 again, and let's do it 3000. Any port you can write to kill the server, Control C. So it will listen on 3000 now. You can listen on any port, that is not an issue. Just make sure that port is not being used somewhere else, right? So like now I have a server running on 3000, so I can't run another server on 3000 without closing this server. Okay, I can use any port, that is not an issue. So everyone clear till this point, like how to actually set up a basic uh, uh, Express server? I'll in the next 2 minutes I'll quickly repeat every step, like from the initializing npm init step till this point. But for most of the people, does this make sense? Are you following till this point? So for the people whose Express is not defined, so you have not actually installed Express using npm. You must miss that step. Okay. So I'll repeat everything from start very quickly. Just listen, whoever have missed it. First step I did was go into the folder wherever you want to create a server. First thing you need to do is npm init. Okay, I'll write the steps more or less. I'll write the steps over here. First, steps to create a server, or steps to set up a Express project. Okay, first is npm init, right? Second is npm install express -save, right? And it follows for every dependency, right? Like if you like okay, I'll do one thing. I'll make a wiki for it so that you can refer to it in the future. Or I could have made a readme as well, but okay, I'll make a wiki. Steps for setting up so first thing was I'll update it after the workshop. It'll take it'll consume your time as well, which is not what I want. I'll update it once the workshop is finished. But yeah, for now you can just see over here. So npm init is the first step, and then you will be asked for certain questions. Hit enter for all the questions. Once you do npm init, you'll have this package JSON created. Now, once you have package JSON created, after that do npm install express hyphen save. You'll have an entry of dependencies inside it, express created. Okay. Once you have this express created, go into the server.js file, import your express, make an application out of express, and listen the application on any port which you want. In my case, it is 3000, and write something which you want to actually print on the console, or to do anything just to make sure that whether the server is running or not. If this console log is not being printed, that means my I have some errors in my server.js file. Okay. Yeah, this will remain public. This will remain public. The GitHub link and all the repository will remain public. Okay. So this is a basic thing which you see, right? Now, again, I'll do one thing. I'll just run that again. So I'll go to localhost 3000. You'll see cannot get slash. Okay, but I have this. If you see over here, server is running on 3000, right? But you can't see anything on the localhost 3000. Right? In the earlier case, you were able to see hello world. Okay, because you sent something in the response. You did response.write hello world, if you remember. If I go back and see the old server.js, you did this thing. You told the server to send the response as hello world, right? But over here, over the new express server, you're just telling the server to, you're just telling the app to listen on port 3000 and print this. So the app is doing right. It is listening on port 3000 and printing this particular line, right? Because you told it to do this much only. You never told it to actually send something in the response, did you? You did not told it to send something in the response, right? So that is the reason it is saying see, I don't know what to get at slash. Slash means this. So you're at a home, you are at root of your project, right? So by default it is slash. So it tells you that, okay, I think you forget to define something for me to actually, what do you want to get on the slash path. Did I tell the server to send a response on slash path? Okay, so I did not send anything in the response. That is why it is not being able to get anything on the slash. Okay, so now let's have something on slash. So for that, let's do one thing. Over here, I'll write app dot get. So what does this say? This says the browser says I cannot get anything on slash because I haven't defined anything on slash, right? So what I'll do is I'll do app.get. I'll tell him ki, theek hai, I want to define something on slash. I want to define this get property on the path slash. Okay, so I want the app to get something on slash, and what to get is again function, and here it will be res, and now you will do res.send hello world, let's suppose again. So you actually wrote yourself inside your express application key. Whenever you go to localhost 3000 slash, so you need to return the hello world in the response. You need to send hello world in your response. You explicitly defined it over here, right? Now if you go, like, you need to restart the server, kill the server, and then again start it. And now if I refresh over here, you'll see hello world. Following till this point? Is it clear? So Digambar, I'll come to the comparison between Express and Node, and then you'll understand rest.send is a function of Express or Node. Just wait for a moment. So okay, so now see, if I go in the old server, you'll see that I needed to write head, then I need to rest.write, and then rest.end. These steps are not actually very intuitive. It does not comes within yourself like कि ऐसा करना होगा. It's when you do something, when you write your first node server, then you actually realize okay ठीक है, जब हम node से कुछ server बनाते हैं तो we need to write head, we need to write, and then we need to end. But in case of Express, just see the simplicity of it. The browser said cannot get slash, so what you did, okay, cannot get slash, so I'll do app.get on slash, and karna kya hai, so whatever I need to send, I do it rest.send. So rest.send is more simple and more easy to actually remember. Okay, sending something in response is response.send, and I need to send a string hello world, right? So can you see the ease, like can you see the simplicity and the human readability of using a framework? So this is what a framework does. You do not need to handle the write head and the rest.end thing and all those things. You only need to simply send a response, and the response once sent is what you see. That is all. Now rest.send is so someone asked me rest.send is Express specific or Node. So rest.send is basically Express specific. Express provides you this facility to actually send a response, and then that is all. You do not need to end it, do not need to write head and all. Did this make sense? Like, why do you actually need any frameworks, or what frameworks actually do? And under the hood, the framework is not actually doing something else. It is only following this whole code only. This is how this express dot app dot listen does, and this is the whole legacy. This is the whole base code which is run. But you do not need to write this code. You need to write a simple code, and behind the walls, Express handles all the things, and Express actually run this code. But you do not need to write this code on your own, because it is a quite messy and hard to remember, obviously. Following till this point? Okay. Yeah. So now let's just get back to the browser. If I'll go to some, let's suppose users. So again, I'll get cannot get slash users. Why? Because I have a get defined on slash, but I do not have a get defined on users, right? Now, if I change it to users, what will happen? I need to restart the server. This will be hello world on slash users. And now if you go back to slash, again, cannot get slash, because you changed the slash to users. You can have 2, 3, any number, and any number of get, right? Okay. Now, you must have seen that, like in the websites you have slash users, uh, and you get some list or slash articles. Okay, so let's try to make something like that. So how is I'll just commit this code once. Okay, one more thing. So did you see that when I did get status, so get status actually showed me these 3 files: package log, package JSON, and server.js, right? But actually, if you see inside your code editor, you have node modules, package JSON, package log JSON, and server. Basically 4 files. But the get मेरे को सिर्फ 3 ही file दे रहा है. It does not give me node modules. So why did it happen? Because I already told my get to ignore that file. So I wrote inside my get ignore that anything which starts with node modules, ignore that. So it ignored the whole node modules folder, right? So the whole node modules folder was ignored by Git because I wrote it inside my .gitignore file. So whatever you write inside the .gitignore is not being pushed to the GitHub repo. It's not being tracked by the Git, right? That is the use of gitignore. That is why I have only 3 changes being shown over here: package log, package JSON, and server. Node modules is not shown because I do not actually want node modules to be pushed in my repo. Okay, and I have updated this repo till this point as well. You'll see inside Express server you do not have node modules, right? But in my code editor you will see that I have node modules. It is because I ignored that in my gitignore. Okay, right, cool. So let's make routes. Let's make routes basically, that whenever you go to /users you get something, when you go to slash you get something. Okay, so for that let's organize our code a bit. What I'll do is inside my Express server I'll make a folder called routes. Okay, and okay, and inside my route I'll make a file called let's suppose users.js. Fine, I'll make a route for users basically. Okay, so what I'll do is again const. I'll first of all need to import Express, so I'll do const Express is equal to require Express. Okay, secondly I'll import route, because I will make a I'll make a get for /users now, right? I'll do Express as a router function. I'll call that function. So route is express.router. I'll make let's suppose an array over here. This will come from the database, but in our case let's suppose we have some users already fetched from the database. Let those users be the Tathagat and then so these are the users. And what I want to do is I want route dot, like there was app.get, so I'll do route.get. I want this get to be defined on /users, and again the same function, getting request, response, and res.send users. I'll export this route as well because I need to use, like, see, I need to use this whole logic inside my server.js, right? Because that is the entry point. So what I'll do is I'll do module.exports route. Is this code clear? Like, we'll see how it works, but is this code clear? Is this making sense what I've written? I've imported Express. I've used express.router to get a route. I've made a hard-coded users array, and I defined a get for /users where I send the users array to the front end. And I've exported this route, which has this get registered in it, to use in server.js. Is this clear? I'll use this route in the server.js. That is why that is why I've imported the route. Is this clear? So I'll do something over here, console.log module.exports, and I'll do the same. So this is the first time I have printed module.exports, and this is the second time I have printed module.exports. Okay. So I'll go back to the server. I'll explain what is module.export. Let me just finish the whole code once. I'll go to the this thing server.js file again, and since I exported the route from the user.js, what I'll do is I'll do const users is equal to require dot slash route slash user, right? I'll comment it out for now, this one, or I'll leave it over here, let it be, and I'll write app.use. What I want is slash API, let it be, or be it slash. Okay, app.use slash. I want users over here. Let's see. Let me just check whether this will run or not. Okay. Listening on 3000. Let's see. Do we have anything? Hello world. Yes, we have. Okay. So now let's understand what actually happened over here. Okay. Okay. So let's start. So we could have written this like I could have actually done like app.get slash users and then function again rec res same thing and then res dot send like the whole array, the users array. I could have done this, but I just wanted to show you how is the code actually organized when we do large projects, right? This is not the way how we do the actually organize our large projects. We actually break it into parts, like the routes folder contain the routes specific to the their own purpose, right? Like if we have 4 routes, let's suppose user route, the article route, the post route. So what we'll do is I'll create a new folder inside it, which will be user. I'll move this user.js inside it, and then module.export. So this is how a project is basically organized, right? So you don't write app.get directly over here. So I just remove this. So what I did was I made a new folder called routes. Inside routes, I made a new file called user.js because this file contains all the code related to the user route. So this file name is user.js. Okay. So what I did was I required the Express framework. I required route from it. So express.router is something which is used to make routes. So I got it in the route variable. Okay. Then I made a hard-coded array which I wanted to send on the front end. This users, you'll in real life examples, maybe imagine this users coming from a database. Okay, you'll have a list of users coming from the database inside the variable users. Now what I did was I did route.get slash users. I told okay slash users पे मेरे को users चाहिए. So I defined a get request on slash users path, and I've sent the whole array to the in the response. Okay. Now module.exports. Let's understand what is module.exports. So if you go back to the terminal, you'll see the first console log over here prints an empty object, right? So initially when you did not actually exported wrote this line number 11, so your module.exports was empty, right? So module.exports consider it as a global object, right? This module.export is basically a global object which has things which need to be imported in the different files, right? So initially module.exports were empty. Okay, like you see over here, it is an empty object. Then once you did this module.export equal to route, you'll see this whole bunch of things over here coming, right? And if I do, let's see, is there something like route? Did you see this? You have this entry over here. So this is what you actually get when you do this inside server.js. When you did require this whole thing, so users is basically this function. This is user. Users is basically this function which you passed over here in line number 9. Does this make sense? What is module.exports? How is this export and import system working? Did you see the difference in the Node.js server and the using Express framework? Did you see how it made us things made our life a bit easy? So now we have two routes. One is the slash route, which gives hello world because we wrote over here. Second is slash users, which gives the array. Now what if over here I do app.use API and then users. So you'll see that this, okay, I need to restart the server. So you'll see cannot get slash users because now you'll get it on slash API slash users, right? Slash API coming from this and slash users coming from this. So the whole path becomes slash API slash users. Make sense? So this is something which you give to the front end people. Like if I want to display something now just try to integrate and try to see how we integrate this in the with the front end. So what I do is I'll tell the front end guy, okay, this is the API slash API slash users. This is the endpoint where if you go you'll get all the users. So अगर मेरे को कहीं user दिखाना है, so if I want to uh, generate a list of my users, I want to show कि ठीक है मेरे 3 users हैं. So what I'll do, I'll ask the backend guy to make something like slash API slash users. I want an API from where I can get the whole list of users. So what I did was I made a API. So slash API slash users is there is a endpoint where if you hit you'll get the list of the users, like, right? So the front end guy would hit this point, will do slash would give a get request to API slash users, and in return get the whole users array and this users array, and he looped over this array and show every name in the front end. Did you get this? So what I'm trying to explain is how is backend and front end integrated. So this is basically the backend part, what we did today, right? We made a endpoint, we made a API where if I hit, I'll get the list array of users, right? In response, I'll get the array of users. So if I'm a front end guy, what I'll do is I'll hit this endpoint www dot suppose something something slash API slash users. I'll get in response this array. Now once I get this array in the front end, what I'll do is I'll loop over this array and one by one list all the names. So in the front end, I got the names from the backend. This is how the things work with the communication works from the backend and front end. You need to expose an API from the backend. In our case, I expose slash API slash users, and the front end guy will like consume this API, will hit this API and get the response. That is the array in our case, and show it in the front end. Make sense? Everyone, does this make sense? So everyone please acknowledge it once so that I can just move further. Did you guys follow till this point? Does this all the things make sense? Any doubts or anything you can ask now? Everything clear till this point? A yes or a no? Okay. So let's just try to sum up what all we learned today. So majorly, like all the discussion was for backend implementation, right? Okay. The first thing we did was history about Node.js, how did Node.js came into existence. Secondly, we implemented a basic server, backend server using Node.js, right? Then we moved to ExpressJS, and we saw first of all created a basic server using ExpressJS. Then we created the endpoints, or you can say routes, which is very important. Routes, or you can say APIs, right? So this is what we did today. Any doubts till this point? No. Okay. So I'll just push this code again. Yeah. So I pushed the latest code as well, right? So I'll just give the link of the GitHub repo again. Just quickly note that link, please, so that you did not actually miss something. Okay, I'll show node 1 as well. Like, let's see how node 1 works. Let's just see how node 1 works. You people have confusion regarding node 1. Let's see how node 1 works. Please note the URL of GitHub, please. First of all, note this URL. I'll move further. So let's see what is nodemon. So node 1 is another npm package like Express, and is a very popular package. You'll see 2 million downloads, like weekly 2 million downloads. Okay, so again same thing, npm I nodemon. So let's get back. I'll do npm I nodemon -- save. Okay, what is the use of nodemon? Let's see. We'll see. Okay, so nodemon installed. What I'll do is, like, to verify whether node1 is installed or not, go to package.json. You'll see this second entry, node1 over here in the dependencies, right? That means you have node1 installed. Now what node1 does, node1 basically, whenever you change your any file in the server, you do not need to restart the server. It actually restarts the server on its own. That means, so till now we were doing node server.js. This was doing this. Now we'll do node mon server.js, and that is all. So again, let's see what we get in the API/users. We are getting this. What if I go in the user.js file, I delete this second name from this list and save the file? You will see the second entry, this thing over here. The server automatically restarted on its own. We did not actually kill the server. And straight away, if I do refresh over here, you'll see the third entry vanished. There are only two entries which were there. I did not actually press Control C, kill the server, and then restart. Node1 actually took care of all the things. It restarted the server on its own. Like Node1 restarting due to changes, starting node server.js. So in the background, the command is node server.js only. But what extra thing you get when using node1 is you do not need to restart the server upon every change. It automatically restarts on its own, right? So again, I'll kill the server. So I'll push this also, whether some of you want. Did you get what node1 does? Very simple use case. Yes, it is exactly what hot reload does in every framework, like in React, everything. There is hot reload. So that is something. I'll show you one more thing. I'll show you something else. So I'll go inside a package JSON. You'll see this scripts object over here, right? So I'll make another entry over here, nodemon start, or I'll say start using nodemon, right? I'll do nodemon server.js. I'll save this. Now what I'll do is I'll go back to my terminal. Till now I was doing nodemon server.js or node server.js, right? I don't want to do this. I just want to do npm run, npm run, and then the name of the script. So if I'll do npm run start, so let's see what happens. So if I'll do npm run start and hit enter, you'll see your server is running, and this is the command which has been executed. Why? Because this command is being executed because you defined that whenever you do npm run and start, this should be the command which should run, right? Now what if we do npm run start using nodemon? So this command will be running. Nodemon server.js should run. So let's try. I'll kill the server. I'll do npm run nodemon. What was the name? Start using nodemon. Npm run the script name. Hit enter. You'll see the command. This command nodemon server.js over here. So instead of typing nodemon server.js on your own, you just defined scripts over here so that it is easy for you to run npm run and the script name. That is all. Does this make sense? Like, what is the use of scripts in the package JSON? Is this clear? Everyone followed till this point? Does this package JSON script thing made sense to you? Okay. So we saw that hot reloading part as well. We saw how to use scripts inside the package JSON, right? And I pushed the code over here as well. Everyone noted the GitHub link, the repository link that is being displayed over here. Okay. So I pushed the code till this point. Okay, so any doubts till this point? Anyone? Okay, so I think we have ran out of time. Yes, so I think we should end this over here, and so I think like most of you waiting for the certificates over here. So I'll share the link of the certificates. Just give me 2 minutes, and I hope you got something out of this workshop. It was a very introductory workshop to Node.js, I know, but yeah, I think you got something out of this workshop, and I think you should have made a better sense of what Node.js is, and then what are the frameworks available in Node.js, how to make a small server in Node.js, how to make a small server using Express, why are frameworks actually important, what actually framework do, and some of the tools which you can use like NodeMon, and then getting familiar with all these things. So I'll wrap up the session over here and share the link with you, and I'll keep like the node part and the backend and the front end part. So they are like big topics, right? You can't you can't finish these topic in a 2 hour session, right? So I'll try to arrange more workshops with the continuation of the today's workshop. I'll try that I'll continue and build a better, a big application using Node.js. In the next session, I'll try to arrange a session as soon as possible. So I'll try to arrange some sessions for React as well. I'll try to arrange some sessions for Node as well. And then in the last, I'll try to arrange a big session where we could actually use front end and back end both together, right? To actually see how an application interacts and how is end-to-end thing made. I'll try to arrange it, but I think in today's like 1.5 or 2 hours, 2 hours approximately, you would have got a better understanding of Node.js and the backend tools and all. So let's wrap the session and just give me 2 minutes. I'll update you with the certificate link. I'm sharing the link in the on the screen. You can just see it. So this is the certificate link, which will expire in 2 hours. So you need to get the certificates, fill the entries within 2 hours from now. The link will expire sharp 2 hours after the session, that is 12 by tonight. So make sure you get the certificates and do all the fill the form and all before 12 tonight. So after that, the form won't be available, right? So just to make sure that just try the link and tell me in the comment section if the link is working or not. Can anyone please? Is the link working? So Kriti, certificate link is on the screen. You can see cb.lk/certi/webjs. Is the link working? So Raviraj, a web developer is actually a subset of full stack developer. So a web developer can be a full stack developer. A web developer can only be a front end developer. A web developer can only be a back end developer as well. So if a person develops, if a person know how to build backend and front end both, then he's a full stack developer. If he only knows how to build a front end, he's a front end developer. If he only knows how to build backend, he's a backend developer, right? Okay, so the link is working, right? So the mentor name is Tathagat Thapiyal, that is my name. This is the mentor name. Okay, so the link is, I'll type the link over here so that you can see cv.lk/certi/webjs. This is the link for the certificate, and mentor name is Tathagat Thapiyal, that is my name, which is on the screen. So these two things. I'm not sure, Rajat, whether the video will be available or not. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so the link is cb.lk/certi/webjs, and the mentor name is Tathagat Thapiyal. So I think most of you have used that link and got to know about how to fill the form and all. Apart from it, so that is for today. Okay, so that, I think you got something from the workshop, and I'll make sure I'll continue these sessions in the future as well, so that you can get build a more complex application together, right? So I'll try to get some more sessions out of it, and hope you enjoyed the session and learned something from it, right? So okay, guys, let's just wrap it up over here. I'll take leave. Okay, bye bye, good night, and take care. Bye, guys.